Greetings fellow warriors and welcome back to another Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord video. So now that Bannerlord has been out for quite some time, the game still feels early accessy. I mean, there's still a ton of stuff missing that I want to see in the game, like a proper diplomacy system, a messenger system, having your own proper court, etc. I personally miss every single feature from the previous games, like the minister, feasts, or even the right to rule system. Companions that were actually unique instead of the copy-pasted ones we have in Bannerlord, but sometimes a new mod pops up that tries to alleviate some of these issues I have with the vanilla game. That's why today we are taking a look at the Warlord pack by Block, which adds a ton of old features from Warband to Bannerlord. These features include feasts, manhunters and deserters, proper nobility, books and scrolls, reactive companions, ambushes and much more. In this video I will go over every single feature this mod offers as of version 1.05, so sit back and enjoy. First up, let's talk about feasts. Now, before I go through the details of the feasts that this mod offers, the feast mod I'm working on is a completely different project, and I took inspiration from Block's first announcement of bringing feasts back to Bannerlord. Whereas this mod focuses on a lot of different aspects that made Warband great, my mod will be solely focused on feasts, bards and whatever comes to my mind that would fit its theme. However, that doesn't mean that you have to choose one mod over the other, because Block created a config file where you can disable his feasts in the Warlord mod, if you ever intend to use the ones that I'm creating. It's still in development and I'm working together with Basileus from the Banner Kings mod to make it even better, so stay tuned. And with that said, feasts can be organized by both AI and the player if the conditions are met. You can't organize a feast if you are at war with a kingdom, if there is already a feast in your kingdom at that time, or if you are just simply poor. All these conditions are also applied to AI lords. AI clan leaders check these conditions every day, and if they are good for feasting, clans will evaluate their financial situation and calculate how many days they can host a feast. If they have sufficient funds, a feast announcement will be sent out. Hosting these feasts will give influence to the host, as well as stewardship and leadership XP at the end of the feast if everyone attends. Each AI clan leader can reject or accept an invitation. This depends on the distance and relationship with the host. That means that if they are too far away or if they don't like the host, they might reject these invitations. After rejecting, they will lose relationship with the host. If they accept, they obviously gain relationship. If they accept and do not attend, they lose both relationship and influence. All of this also applies to player-hosted feasts. However, players won't lose relationship points when lords reject the invitation, and you will also earn a little bit more influence than the AI. Whenever feasts are happening, you will notice this leaf or confetti effect on the cities. This is the inspiration I took for my feast mod too. This will be the indicator for an ongoing feast. You may barge into the feast like in Warband as long as you have permission or bribe the gate marshal. Almost every feast also hosts tournaments in towns. When you enter the scene, you will see that there is a musician entertaining the lords and ladies. Depending on their personality, they will either clap, enjoy themselves or get drunk. For example, if a lord has the calculating personality, they will read a book rather than being drunk. If a war breaks out during the feasting period, the feasts get cancelled and you get the notification. The host would then get refunded part of the gold he spent on creating the feast. It's a really good and simple implementation of the feast feature back into the game, just like it was in Warband. Feasts are generally a good way to make acquaintance with various lords ruling over the realm, alleviating the need to chase lords around the map. Next up we have the claimant quests. Faction claimants believe that they have been wronged and should rightfully be the ruler of that faction. Each one of them has a unique story to tell, informing you why they should be the true leader of the faction. All of them will be randomly placed inside towns and during gameplay will change positions. To support them, the player needs to have met certain conditions. Your clan needs to be at least tier 2, you should be in the kingdom that they have a claim on, and your clan needs to have at least 2 supporter notables as a sign of power. Once you give your oath, you will be part of that kingdom, which will be at a constant war with the claimed kingdom. You will also get a quest notification, so the only winning condition is holding more towns than the initial kingdom. In such case, your quest is completed and you will get some gold, and the initial kingdom's name will be changed to resemble their political stance. Up next, let's talk about books and scrolls, allowing you to engage with passive educational activities. On game start, 7 scholars will be randomly generated with a random pool of items. These book merchants are educated men peddling books for those who wish to better themselves. Each one starts in a random settlement and later moves to the closest settlement every week. They will not appear in the quick dialogue menu, so you have a reason to visit tavern scenes if you wish to seek education. There are 32 different readable papers, 3 books and 29 scrolls. Each of them is a unique item and can only be possessed by one person only. Upon successfully reading such paper, you will gain the value times 100 XP on that skill. You can only read if you're stationary. While moving the campaign map you cannot read the scrolls, and the reading speed is determined by your character's intelligence level. AI lords may also read books as well, which you can obtain after defeating them in battle. The next feature that this mod offers and that I want to talk about is Deserters and Manhunters. Every unit that is routed during battle and ends up on the losing side will become a deserter. In simulations, every unit that isn't wounded or dead but also on the losing side will be a deserter. Each week, towns will assess the surrounding situations, so essentially the count of bandits and deserters on the loose, and will generate manhunter parties accordingly. These will have their own troop tree and can only be obtained if you release them from imprisonment. Like in Warband, they only have blunt weapons to take the deserters alive. Once they have enough prisoners, they sell them in towns. Their dialogue will also be the same as in Warband, with one small exception that lets you attack these manhunter parties too. Up next, let's talk about the nobility feature. In Warband, banners are flags that represent specific vassals or monarchs. During character creation, if you choose to be the child of an impoverished noble, you will be given the option to carry a banner from the start of the game. Otherwise, you don't receive a banner until you have become a vassal or monarch. Now in Bannerlord, if you don't pick the noble option, which is the first one, the parent selection, you start as a commoner. This means you won't have a unique banner and won't carry it on the campaign map. Once you become tier 1, you gained enough recognition and the system will prompt you to edit your banner. From that moment on, you will continue having the banner. Next up we have reactive companions, which adds some rather uniqueness to the bland and boring Bannerlord companions. So now, whenever you're roaming the realm of Caradia, companions might want to talk to you and tell you a story. These stories can be about their birthing place, where they grew up, or village-dependent productions like fish and much more. After battles, depending on how it went, they will also share their complaints or praise other companions. Picking sides will affect your relationship with them, adding much more complexity to the companion system. Killing villagers, raiding villages may now also trigger certain dialogues based on traits. As an example, if they have roguery, they might approve of your actions and you will get a relationship increase. Up next we have the belligerent drunk feature making a return. This feature randomly generates belligerent drunks in the taverns. Their dialogue will also be exactly the same as we had in Warband. If your renown is more than 350, you will also get the "Do you have any idea who I am" option, which de-escalates the situation to avoid unnecessary conflict. Upon fighting and successfully beating the drunk, the tavern keeper will initiate dialogue with you, adding gold and the weapon of the drunk to your inventory. You will now also gain roguery XP after beating the drunk. The next feature I want to talk about is the bandit ambush feature. Now, bandits and thieves might attack you if you visit villages or towns at nighttime. This can happen when you wanted to walk in the streets or when you are entering a tavern. This event can only happen at nighttime and is dependent on the town's security level. For villages, if there's an active hideout nearby, it's very likely to happen too. This adds another incentive for you to clear out hideouts, keep the town security high and invest in your civilian outfit, since if you get knocked out during these events, you may lose quite a lot of gold. Next up, we have classic voice lines. Ah, how I missed being called a vile beggar or some sea tart wanting to drink from my skull. It's a nice bit of nostalgia that has been brought back to Bannerlord and I'm all for it. This simply adds Warband's voice lines to Bannerlord. Almost at the end here, we've got the Nervous Man quest. The Nervous Man is a fugitive from justice and target during the Hunt Down Fugitive quest. He can only be found in the village of his kin during the daylight hours. The locals will not be helpful in guiding you to his hiding spot, and his death will not be appreciated by the village. He will spawn on a distant side of villages with a randomly chosen name and appropriate culture clothes. When you press Alt, he doesn't show up immediately, but when you enter the village a second time, pressing Alt will show his location. If you get knocked out, he runs away and the quest will fail. If you kill the man, like I already mentioned, you will get a relationship decrease with a random village notable. And lastly, the old kill feed also makes a return in this mod. And the best part of it all, this mod is completely modular. Let's say you don't want to have feasts or ambushes, you can just disable them in the mod settings.json file. Everything else can be toggled as well. Some might not be a fan of the old kill feed like myself, so I just open up the file, change the use old kill feed parameter to false, and there you go. It's as simple as that. Now, what do you think about this mod? I absolutely love it. You know me, I always yearn for the good old features to make a comeback to Bannerlord, so this mod is like a Christmas present for me. And yeah, I guess that is it for this video. I hope you liked it. If you did, feel free to hit that like button. It would help out tremendously and show that you want to see more content like this in the future. Join my Discord server if you want to talk with me and other like-minded people about all kinds of stuff, and I see you all in my next video. Become a warrior today, and bye. Another huge shout out to Kabadog, Pyralized, Ed China, Chains, Max, Clinkyman and all the other channel members for supporting the channel.